Well, today is pour day number 2. We are doing the walls. We're doing a small front wall and we're doing a big back wall, and we have to hire a pump truck, which is going to go right over the house and down. So yeah, it's about a extra $900 for a 2-hour window with the pump truck, but it's going to save a lot of hassle because we got to get the concrete into a wall. So we've got about 2 hours to get everything done and ready before that cement truck gets here. So I got to get to it. Finishing touches. Working on his mountain bike. Ramps. It's boom time.
Barely fits in the game, eh? Yeah. Hey, where do you want to start?
Probably the far end.
This truck holds 10 meters.
Yeah. Concentration. All right, so we've let the forms dry for 3 days, and now it's time to take them off. I'm a little nervous, I gotta say. There's some stairs here, never done stairs before. There was a wall that almost blew out here, so I don't know how that's gonna look, but it looks pretty ugly right now. So fingers crossed, it looks pretty beneath the board. So it's gonna be a long day, stripping these forms, cleaning them up, and hopefully no unpleasant surprises. Let's get to it. All right, so we've got the third pour. Seems like every time we pour, it's a Thursday, and it's a bit cloudy. Fingers crossed, this is the pour we don't want rain, because it's the floor. So what we've done is we've put 2 layers of 2-inch insulation. This blue stuff I've been keeping with me since Gambier. I bought it cheap from a roofing company on Facebook, and been ferrying it around. Finally put it to good use. So yeah, so did that. We're putting the mesh down. I'm just putting these spacers, these little chairs, to keep the mesh off the ground. Got this little pour, and then we got the front stairs. Now we have a wrinkle. It's always going to be a wrinkle. You'll see up here, I've got a piece of string running across from the house, which is level with the joists, which are going to be our deck. And what we've realized is that this step is too high, and we're going to whack our heads, and no inspector is going to pass that. So it's kind of a big wrinkle, and we're figuring out a solution. What we might do is chop off that top layer, that top kick, and make that step our final step. I've also talked to the engineer about changing the 2x8s joists for something 2x6, which would be probably a engineered beam of some sort for these joists, so we can keep the head height. So it's a bit of a problem. Also under the deck here is also going to be too low, so I'm going to have to figure out a retaining wall or something. So these jobs, I don't know. You think you thought of everything, and the one sometimes you just can't catch it all. Another little wrinkle was this post. I had offset because I thought, you know, I want the deck to be leaning over so the rain doesn't come into here. But this post is perfectly in line with the wall. So I just walked by it 50 times and didn't even notice. And then after it was poured, I was like, oh, that looks stupid. So this is now obsolete. We're going to pour a new one today that's in line and matches the other guy. So not a huge deal, that one, but hoping we can come up with a solution for the floor. Really hoping the rain stays away, because we want this to be a beautifully flat floor. So here we go. Target. Well, folks, my face says it all, right? It's 8:15. Concrete has been poured. Rain came. Thankfully, I had a tarp tied up there, which I quickly pulled over. We got wind warning, so I'm just praying this tarp doesn't get blown away. With the extra concrete, I sawed up a whole bunch of sonotube. You see it right there in the distance and down here. And I'll use them for pavers. So that was good. We had an extra bit of concrete. But I've been left alone now. I'm all by my own some. And I got to burnish this floor. And I've never done it before. And I'm doing it by hand without a power, whatever you call it. And a power doodly hiddly would sure make a lot of difference, because it is freaking hard work and hard on the back. Well, next day. Thankfully the tarp didn't blow away, but here's our finished, still drying, still green floor. So, you know what? It's not too bad. When you're on your hands and knees and you're troweling, you just see every little defect. But then you realize when you walk into, you know, trowel finish like this, polish finished places, there's lots of defects. You just don't notice them. But when you're on your hands and knees down there, you get really down to the nitty-gritty, tiny little details. So I think this is fine. There's a few things I don't like right here. It's a bit dimply, but this is where was the end of the mix, so the mix was going off a little bit. Whereas over here, it was a lot easier to trowel. So I think this will be fine. It'll dry out, and then we'll put a clear coat over it when we're all said and done. And at the end of the day, it's a boot room. At the end of the day, it's a boot room, and it's gonna have mess and dirt and mud everywhere anyway, so I think we're good. I just finished putting the damp proofing on the perimeter, so let that dry up. I'm gonna go pick up a bunch of drain rock. Our lumber's supposed to show up today, which is great. And I'm gonna get drain rock, and the next job will be to do drain tile around the perimeter and get that inspected. Once we've got that inspected, we can start filling in and framing, which is where it's really gonna rock and roll. Well, our lumber just showed up. I tell you, every driver, every concrete guy, every delivery guy, everyone
is a sweet guy here. They all go the extra mile. They're not grouchy. Get so much of that back in the city. So yeah, always surprises me. There she be. The interesting thing will be is how much of this wood is any good. There's going to be a lot of returns, I reckon. Lumber these days is not what it used to be. There's a lot of ugly stuff. There she be.